The year is 3148 AD. After a global cataclysm centuries ago, the internet no longer exists. Most books have been destroyed by the elements of time. The remaining survivors have regrouped and have been slowly rebuilding civilization and are perhaps living in small colonies. Much of the knowledge of the past is long gone, and the biggest focus for humans of this time is working together for survival. Scavengers often go out and search the lands for any useful resource they can find, but one of them finds something quite strange and disturbing: a giant mouse shrine. Could this be something the ancients used to worship? Perhaps they sacrificed their enemies to this bizarre mouse deity for good fortune and harvest, or maybe even children for ensuring fertility. Who is he? Is he the creator god that the ancestors used to worship? Was he a ruthless god or one of mercy? What made him so important that there's a statue erected of him and several small idols everywhere? Toys, people. Why are these small idols found all in the surrounding vicinity? One can only assume that he was the patron deity of the city in ruins, which contains the remnants of what once had been a magnificent castle that was probably an extremely sacred place for these ancient people. It could maybe even be assumed that the people were required to wear mouse ears on their heads to enter this holy site. So what was this ancient cult, and who was their mysterious deity? Well, we all know Mickey Mouse as not being a deity, especially one that doesn't require any child sacrificial offerings. At least, I don't think so. It would just be really bizarre, and maybe even downright disturbing, to stumble upon the remnants of any Disney park as a person that lives hundreds or even thousands of years from now. How would our descendants view this? Modern archaeology and its interpretations can give us an idea of what they just might think. Some people already treat Disney like a religion. There's even a study about this being a religion and a way of life. Some people go to Disneyland as if it's a great pilgrimage. People have recorded themselves crying upon entering Disney parks, and some have even claimed to have been changed after having been there, as if they had some sort of great revelation or spiritual awakening. People wear mouse ears as if it's religious attire. Some people collect hundreds, if not thousands, of Disney collectibles as if they are idols. Now, no, I am not saying Disney is a religion, but this is something that could very well be misinterpreted as one by our descendants in the far future if some cataclysmic event was to take place and caused little to no records to exist anymore. Look at Egyptian hieroglyphs or Mesopotamian cuneiform tablets that have stood the test of time. We have books, the internet, newspapers, with books and newspapers already on the decline the past few decades. In other words, unlike our ancient Egyptian and Mesopotamian ancestors, we have nothing. Paper printed texts will deteriorate over time, and unless the apocalypse was graceful, allowing the lucky few with the know-how of maintaining servers to survive, the internet will likely no longer be around. So pretty much recorded human history is totally fucked. We already have enough mystery, absolutely shrouding places the likes of ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, Mesoamerica, and the entire ancient world at large. And that's with our interpretation of their written language. Stumbling across the ruins of a Disney park would be much more perplexing without any records. So without much in writing, this would leave our friend Mickey up to much interpretation from those in the future. Mice themselves are regarded as highly adaptable in various environmental conditions, being similar to the omnipresent nature of God. They're also good at predicting the weather, so maybe Mickey would be seen as some sort of weather prophet, warning those of the dangers of upcoming natural disasters brought about by a much more wrathful deity that controls the weather.
You think God is in control here? I am in control!
Another thing that mice are known for is their love of burrowing and digging. This could also make those in the future believe that this mouse deity is very connected to the earth element. Some mythology alleges that mice dig towards the underworld and possibly other realms, whereas past European superstitions claim these little rodents carry the souls of humans into their next life. So here we have potential interpretations of mice going against a powerful weather god, siding with humanity, bringing some human souls to the underworld. You know who else defied God and lures people to the underworld? Lucifer. So am I saying Mickey Mouse is Satan? Yes. Yes, I am. I'm totally kidding. This in all actuality would mean that the mouse actually works more as a spiritual bridge between worlds, acting as a messenger between Earth and the heavens. I mean, just look at the way they navigate through houses. Pretty impressive. Now, just because mice are seen as inherently good doesn't mean they don't come without their downsides. The mouse is also known to be a carrier of disease, which often contains a lesson for humanity. Rather than it being the mouse's fault, it is more often than not due to a lack of hygiene or being negligent when it comes to handling waste. This means that Mickey wants you to take care of the environment and not litter, or else Disney will come after you.
You little piece of shit!
Mice essentially serve as a stark reminder that humans must take care of themselves and their environment. They don't want to succumb to sickness and disease. They, after all, are the messengers of keeping it clean, or else they'll come after you.
Piece of shit!
Whether or not the future discoverers of the almighty deity that we all know as Mickey Mouse take this into interpretation or not is unknown. But that begs another question though. How does this explain the other characters? Who would they be? Minor deities of this ancient polytheistic pantheon. Would Spider-Man be Anansi, the West African trickster god and weaver of stories? Would Buzz Lightyear be Zeus, the god of thunder and lightning? Or would Hercules be... Hercules? All of these characters and many more could be misinterpreted as minor deities that perhaps played a role in this ancient religion led by a mouse god. Yeah, that would be very bizarre for our descendants to find. But one thing they may find unusually bizarre is the rides of a Disney park. Is the Haunted Mansion ride a scary chamber that is a representation of hell, where people have to put themselves through some transcendent state with a shaman and face their deepest, darkest fears? Are the Star Wars rides seen as futuristic space? No pun intended, in which science meets esoteric meaning. Is Jungle Cruise the Disney version of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon? Is Splash Mountain a place where... Oh yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. Sorry, too soon. These rides would probably be so deteriorated that people long into the future wouldn't be able to even tell what they exactly were. Heck, and if they were all standing and at least somewhat identifiable, maybe they won't even think this was some sort of spiritual thing at all and realize that it is indeed an amusement park. But what of the houses? And yes, there are houses at Disney World that you can buy, and apparently you're not even allowed to change the interior much, such as the engraved Mickey Mouse railings. Would these houses be seen by those in the future as houses of high elitist shaman priests of this bizarre mouse cult? Let's forget high priest houses. It's cool and all, but let's talk about something else. The houses of Disney superfans. Like, what the f- Look at this. I don't even want to know how much they spent on putting this together. I seriously don't. Or this one. Like, really? And hey, I'm not saying people like this are wrong or anything for doing this, but like, Dude, I mean, just imagine walking into one of these people's houses and seeing all of this. And this isn't just near Disney, but any Disney superfan's house at any corner of the world. Immediately, with no recorded context whatsoever, this would come across as a place that once belonged to a devout follower of some sort of mysterious cult or religion. So yeah, I'm just gonna come out and say I would even be confused myself seeing this in the present time. This kind of fanaticism in a post-apocalyptic world mirrors that of the cults in the Fallout series, which sees some cults to spring up and worship radiation. There's other groups in the series too, such as Caesar's Legion, who build up a cult-like following around ancient Rome under Julius Caesar's reign. And there's also a gang in post-apocalyptic Las Vegas and Fremont called the Kings, that find an old Elvis-themed museum hall and then start slicking their hair back and talking kinda funny, impersonating this old world man they know nothing about. Elvis. It's just like, seriously, imagine like a bunch of survivors like finding a giant statue of a mouse and then several toys and idols around it, and then thinking all of a sudden like, oh, this is an old world cult, this is an old world religion, we must follow this, and then they build a whole lifestyle around it. Well, that would be pretty cool to see a post-apocalyptic mouse cult around the remnants of Disneyland in a Fallout game develop. That's not likely to happen. I don't think Disney would allow this. Again, this is a company that wouldn't let a deceased boy's parents use Spider-Man's image and likeliness on his grave. Yeah. Whether or not you love the House of Mouse or hate it, there's absolutely no denying the significance or impact of Disney in present-day culture. Whether or not tragic events take place in the future, there's absolutely no denying that some person wouldn't stumble across Disney and see this little cute mouse and wonder, what the f*** is this? Unless that is, some records were kept and people in the future would know what this is, which would totally ruin the fun and defeat the purpose of this video.